Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I have posted in the past. The goal of this YouTube channel is to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system, which stands for flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking. With this cooking system, it will help you to make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, fun, and so you can cook every single day. Key to the cooking system is flavor chasing. A flavor turned out to be essential for home cooking because flavor not only is important for provide the incentive for us to cook, but it also is necessary for us to keep going back to home cooking again and again. Just imagine that you come home late in the evening. It's not because of the nutritional value of the food that will drive you into the kitchen to cook. It is some flavor that you crave. This is the reason that you will put down your wok and look into the refrigerator to find the ingredients to create the flavor that you want. And when it comes to healthy eating, the sustainability of eating healthy food is not because you know the food is healthy. It's because that you enjoy the flavor of the food. A bowl of vegetable, if it is not flavorful, even though it is healthy, you will not consume it. But if you find it to be delicious, you will enjoy it. And this is how you're going to make healthy eating sustainable. Creating flavor can be quite complicated. However, there are ways to create flavor using a single sauce, which is an oyster sauce. This is probably the best sauce that I find that will allow you to substitute many different ingredients to create complex flavor in a dish that would not be possible otherwise. When I was growing up in Hong Kong, I noticed that there are 7 bottles of sauces that on the kitchen shelf. First is soy sauce, and then it's followed by oyster sauce, hoisin sauce, Shaoxing cooking wine, a bottle of vinegar, and a bottle of sesame oil. And then last but not the least is a jar of hot chili pepper. And among them, I discovered that oyster sauce is the most frequently used. In fact, oyster sauce is the only one that my family put it into some sort of a squeeze bottle, looks like this. So this will allow it to dispense more readily. And this is a good indication of how important oyster sauce as a seasoning agent in home cooking. Because of its popularity, oyster sauce has a legendary history. It is discovered by a person by the name of Li Kam-cheung, and he lived in the southern part of China, which is the Guangdong province. There's a lot of oysters at the time, and he accidentally took some oyster and he boiled it much longer. And the end result is that it turned into a sauce, and he finds that it has great flavor and he can use it in many different types of cooking. And of course, this later become the Li Kam-ki oyster sauce. Now you can make oyster sauce at home, and it's really simple. You just take oysters and you boil it, and then you mix it with soy sauce. In here, the bottle on the left is the original oyster sauce. Today, most of oyster sauce come in that red bottle, which we call it the panda oyster sauce. And then you have a vegetarian oyster sauce, and then you have one that have scallop in it as well. Oyster sauce is a relatively thick sauce. It is dark in color, and partly because it contains soy sauce. The oyster sauce shown here is thickened with cornstarch. And because of this, you can use the sauce directly to create a sauce in your dish. So it serves as a thickening agent as well. One of the key characteristics of oyster sauce is its umami flavor, which comes from the oyster. And another important characteristic of oyster sauce is that it is very balanced in terms of its flavor. It is savory, but it's also slightly sweet. It carries a little bit of salt, but it's not overpowering. One significant and important characteristic of oyster sauce is its balance. When you add oyster sauce to a dish, you will not actually notice it that much. What you see is that the oyster sauce seems to enhance the savory of the dish. For example, if you add oyster sauce to a vegetable stir fry and you find that the vegetable seems to come alive, it is more savory than before. If a vegetable turns out to be more bitter, such in the case of a Chinese vegetable also known as a Chinese broccoli or gailan, and this vegetable is slightly bitter. But once you add oyster sauce to it, it will run out the bitterness. It makes the dish more savory. And in fact, the contrast makes the dish really delightful. It's one of the most famous dish, which is oyster sauce with gailan. The umami flavor of the oyster sauce comes from the oyster themselves. And the original brand of oyster sauce is the one shown here. It shows a fisherman and a fisherwoman. And you can see the oysters on the picture. This particular sauce in its original form contained more oyster extract. But today, the oyster sauce that are being used is the brand which referred to as the Panda oyster sauce. This is less expensive. The flavor is pretty much the same as the original oyster sauce, but it contains less oyster extract and is made up by some other seasoning agent that is being added to the sauce. You can buy this in a 5-pound jars, which demonstrate how popular it is. Oyster sauce is frequently referred to as a universal sauce. Of course, oyster sauce is frequently identified with Chinese stir-fry. But however, you can find oyster sauce in almost all different types of Asian cooking, from Japanese to Korean, to Vietnamese, to Thai, and all of this, they use oyster sauce extensively. In fact, now oyster sauce is frequently used in Western cooking as well. For example, when you make a meatloaf, a little bit of oyster sauce will really enhance the flavor. You can add oyster sauce to a spaghetti sauce, which will also make the sauce more savory. And this gives oyster sauce a lot of possibilities. The benefit of oyster sauce is that it can be used as a shortcut. Instead of using many different types of sauces to create the flavor, you can use oyster sauce by itself. And depending on the type of food ingredients that you use it for, it will adapt to it rather than overwhelm it. However, oyster sauce can be also used as a layer in combination with other types of sauces. And one frequently cited example is the combination of oyster sauce with hoisin sauce. Now, hoisin sauce is also another sauce come from southern part of China. Hoisin sauce has a much sweeter flavor. It also contains different type of herbs and spices. It's rich in umami flavor as well. When you combine oyster sauce and hoisin sauce, it will create a teriyaki-like flavor. Now, teriyaki originally are constructed by using multiple different sauces, but you can create a shortcut by just combining oyster sauce and hoisin sauce, and it will give you a wonderful teriyaki outcome. Oyster sauce can be considered to be as the foundational sauce because you can use it in combination with many other type of sauces as well. And this is a very powerful flavoring technique. I refer it to as flavor chasing, which you layer different type of sauces one on top of each other. It's almost like building a cake that with different layer to provide different type of eating experience. And all of these sauces can be used in a way that will help you to enhance the flavor of a dish. But most of the time, I find that oyster sauce by itself is sufficient. And the reason is that oyster sauce can enhance the natural flavor of the food ingredients. When you use oyster sauce, it will not dominate. Instead, it will add to it. A vegetable dish like this, without oyster sauce, it tastes okay, but seems something not quite complete. But once you add oyster sauce, the dish come alive. I probably have about 10 to 15 different types of sauces in my cabinet. However, almost 90% of the time, I only use one sauce. I use oyster sauce. Occasionally, I will mix it with other types of sauces, such as hoisin sauce. This is why I think oyster sauce is such a flexible seasoning strategy. Particularly when you are short of time. You do not want to spend a lot of time to figure out all the different flavor. In this case, oyster sauce will give you a satisfactory outcome almost right away. Now, of course, if you want to create a more unique flavor, then you can use other type of seasoning agents as well. And this is the reason that I purchased oyster sauce in a 5-pound jar, and I transfer them in a squeeze bottle. And the reason for that is that this will allow me with more precise and also nuanced dispensing. I don't have to measure it. All I have to do is just squeeze amount onto the wok. Usually I have a pretty good idea how much I put in, and I can continue to make adjustment to create the flavor that I want. So many ingredients come alive with oyster sauce. I always consider oyster sauce is like a picture frame. You can put different pictures in it, and it will support the picture and make them more appealing. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, so that you can make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun using my fast cooking system. If you'd like to learn more about this cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.